What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So today is day 3, day 4, day 5, day 20. All the final days are going to be in this video. I was only going to do a 2-part video for this install, but it has blown out, so it's going to be a 3-parter. This is the final part. This is going to be, even if it takes 3 weeks to finish this video, this is going to be it. End of this, we're going to be going up and down in the Supra. Okay, so I have a little list of things that we need to get done for this video to be successful. So I've got to pull out the dash and the glove box to run the switches and the power. I have to mount the compressor, so I've got to make a bracket for that. I have to wire that up. I have to tube everything, like just finish off the tubing. I have to install the front, what have I got front? Oh yeah, I got to install the front right coilover today, which I can. I can put the rear wheels on. I have to modify the stereo panels in the back, so I'm not going to be able to get my arm under there to put the nuts and bolts on, so I'm going to have to put nutserts in some of the sections. I have to also cut the top of one of the panels so that I can fit it over the tank. What else do I have to do? I've already done one of the things, which is collect the cover, which I'll show you in a moment. Now the things we are waiting on still are the 8mm tees, the tank fitting, the front left air cup, and a fitting that goes from 1/8 inch MPT to 3/8 tube, which is all good. Or everything's on the way so far as I know, apart from the cup. They're still figuring that out, so this video will take me a couple of weeks to make, but you guys will be able to finish it very quickly. Okay, so seeing as though I've got a bit of a suede Alcantara kind of feel to the interior, I thought I would suede Alcantara, whatever you want to call it, wrap the tank. So that's it there. So I just wanted it to, I wanted it there. It's just like, you know, things aren't perfectly square, which I would have preferred. The stitching down the side isn't perfect, etc. But I'll probably get it done in the future. So that's that. Now, we have to do one more fitting there, which the tube is already bent up, so that's great. These are bolted in, but I need to wire these. So I'm gonna bolt this in today, which is all good. I've run a tube there. We need to run, obviously, power. I need to run my switches into there, which I will run all of that together today. I can plug these tubes in to the back, and then I can put my wheels back on here. Waiting for the T to be able to connect these two together. I will connect this one in. Obviously bolt it all in, wire it all up. Compressor will go over there. I'm gonna make those brackets up today. And what else have we got? And then it's just kind of a bit of wiring, and I kept this front coilover out, even though it's completely set up, ready to go, just because I didn't know what they were gonna say. If they were gonna say, nah, run 2 of the bigger ones or whatever, but they're gonna send me another one of those cups. So I'm gonna put that back in today, which is all good. And then set the height, or not set the height, but set it higher, just so I can put that tube in and put the wheel back on. So at least I have 3 wheels on, and then it's just that front left corner that I have to finish off. Okay, so just to be a little bit OCD, I know you don't have to do this, this is just me. I've got some spare leather here. So anywhere that my airline, because they're rubber, anywhere that's touching anything. Now, I'm making sure that anywhere that it's touching, it's like just, you know, just touching. It's not like hell pushing against it or anything. But anywhere that's just touching something, I'm wrapping that little section in leather and cable tying it on, just to give it a little bit more longevity. I actually personally don't like nylon lines. When I was on the tools doing my trade, we would only ever use
nylon lines for like a quick mock-up of something just to test that a valve works or whatever, and then we would go and tube it in stainless. Hence the reason I've run hard stainless lines. As expensive as they are, one, they look amazing, two, they're more reliable kind of thing, but this system is designed in the 8mm nylon tube. So nylon, plastic, whatever it may be. It is in that, so this is just added precaution. I'm not telling you you have to do it, but this is just what I want to do because, yeah, I like the peace of mind, so.
All right, so that's done. Now all I'm gonna do is just spin that coilover, like lengthen it quite a bit, so that I know that it is over the height that I need it to be, because once all the coilovers are done and all the lines are plugged in and the T's are on and so on, then I will set the ride height and I'll set a new ride height, pretty similar to what it was, but I'll just get it perfectly even. So at the moment, I just want it higher than it needs to be, just so I can get it onto the floor. And then when it's on the floor, I'll just do corner by corner. So yeah, I'm just gonna extend that and then we'll jump on to the next step. Oh, hey. So the bracket's done. Bracket for the compressor. Thanks Bunnings for the little, whatever you call it, little base bracket. I'll bolt the compressor to it and I'll show you exactly where it fits. The cool thing is, where I'm mounting it to the chassis, that can be my earth point for the compressor. So that's covered and it's really secure and it's got a decent amount of distance, probably like easy 10 mil away from everything. So when the compressor does get warm, it is going to have a bit of clearance around stuff, which is great. So I'll just mount it to this right now and then I'll show you how it looks in the car. So there is the compressor. A little bit closer to the spare tire than I would like, but I'll probably put some heat shielding around there sort of thing. I'll make something up, something fancy, probably off that same mounting bolt, just like an L bracket that's got some heat shielding, just to be a little bit safer to the tire. And I'll put some heat shielding under the false floor as well, just some of that sticky stuff, just to, I don't know, be a little bit safer. Why not? And I've got this bad boy just in case. Anyway, I just measured the hard line. It comes back to about here, which is great, perfect. So now all I have to do, I also tested some continuity points for earth points around the back, around there, just because I'm going to need them. So I'll probably have my relay just sitting back here in that corner roughly, and then just wire everything to it. So now is the job I've been avoiding, pulling out the dash, the side panels, and running the cabling. All right, we're back here on day 4, day 7,000, whatever it may be. So I'm doing the wiring today. I went a little bit extra last night. I put a bunch of the stereo panels back in, and I kind of regret it because I think I actually need to access some cables back there. I need a 12 volt switched to do this wiring, and I didn't really think about that. So I might have to pull some of it out, because I don't think there's many 12 volts switched in the boot, to be honest. I'll have a bit of a look around, see what I can find. But I went out this morning and I got some extra parts. I got some heat wrap. Now this heat wrap is good for like, what is it? 550 degrees Celsius direct heat. Jesus, that's a lot. And the compressor only gets to 75 degrees before it duty cycles out. So I'm gonna put that under the floor, or like under the false floor. I'm gonna put it under the compressor, and I'm gonna make up a little like L bracket on the tire side and put it on there as well, just to avoid burning anything. I know it's only 75 degrees, but there is plastic, there's wood, there's rubber. That stuff isn't as great with 75 degrees. So yeah, I'm just gonna protect that a little bit. So I'll put that in around the compressor. I'm gonna wire everything up today and install the tank and leave the tank in there. All right, we're all wired up. I've just ran on everything. I picked up my 12-volt ignition. I didn't want it on accessories because I don't want the compressor running on accessories. I want it on actually ignition specifically. So that was fine. And it's all wired up, and let me show you. Okay, so yeah, all wired up down there. Now you see that there. What I did, I want it serviceable, I want it maintainable. So a bunch of them need to be 12-volt pickups just for like switching relays and so on. So there's no real crazy amp draw on them. So I've just got them in a connector, and I want to keep them in the connector because if I need to pull stuff out or I need to change stuff over, I don't want to go ripping apart solders and stuff like that. So don't at me and be like, no, you need to solder every cable. You don't, it's fine. It's not dodgy, it's not just like spun together and then taped. Like there's a proper double screwed connector there, so it's very, very safe and it is properly done. It's a 40 amp connector, so don't stress. Every cable, because here the switching cables came with this beautiful cover. I didn't need all of it on the switching cables, I cut them short. So what I actually did was I ran it on pretty much every other cable. So there's my relay for the compressor and everything. And then we've got earths back here and so on and so forth. Now, the only thing I have to do now is complete this panel here, which I'll do that in a moment. Cut it down, and then tonight while I'm watching TV with Brooke, I will re-leather wrap it. I just have to use the stuff that I was using and cut it apart and so on. And I have to run my tubing. So when the T's get in, we've got the feed to the rears, right rear, left rear, and then I'll come out of my my tank into that solenoid there, and then the other hard line will spin around and go into that solenoid, which will feed the front, and then that goes under the car, up the front to the cross member where I'll pop that T in, and we're all good. Now, I did go very over the top with my heat shielding, as you can see down here. So heat shielding is on there, underneath here. Everything around this compressor has heat shielding up to 550 degrees rated, which is way too overkill. But I would rather be overkill than underkill. And also on the floor, as you can see here, that's where the floor sits above it. And that's also the same stuff, so 550 degree rated. It's ridiculous, it's way over the top, but I'd rather be safe than sorry. So that's all sorted out as well. So last night I got some delightful news. I don't know if I told you guys, but after putting the front right coilover in, Driftworks emailed me and said, yeah, we're gonna send you 2 new ones. So I've got to pull that back out again. Now I'm not pulling that out until it rocks up, just in case they turn around and say, yeah, no, we are gonna send you the normal one. All right, guys, the final cup has rocked up. Now this is model, where is it? 17061 instead of 17063. I've just measured everything, it's the exact same. The only difference is that is a 6mm fitting, this is an 8mm fitting, and they've sent me the 8mm fitting along with it. So I'm gonna pull that out, pop that in, and then rebuild this bad boy with it, and we're gonna be good to go. And the other thing that happened the other day is my final fitting came in up there, and I've slightly polished these lines. As you can see, they're not polished up like chrome because I've got no chrome on this car, so that would be silly. I've just kind of polished them up like a brushed finish, and they've come up really, really good. So I'm just gonna have to, you can see the blue back there, that's actually electrical tape, because that panel that sits down there actually needs to go forward a little bit. It's got a lot of play. It'll go forward a little bit to bolt all these in, and I just need to trim that one and the one over there just to make them fit perfectly. And the interior bit will be done. I tubed up everything yesterday, put the nylon tubes in, put all my hard lines in, tightened them all up, did a nut and bolt check kind of thing. Finished all the wiring, so all the wiring back here is complete as well. Literally, all we need to do is the T that's under the cross member, which I'm gonna make sure it's nice and far away from the exhaust and so on, and the bottom of the engine so it doesn't get too hot. and all the lines that run to the corners. And then I'm going to right now rebuild the front left coilover with the new cup and tube it up, set it up exactly the same as the front right, and then I should be able to put the car on the ground and start tuning the suspension tomorrow. All right, now I wasn't actually planning on doing this today, but I get way too impatient and I just want things done. So, spring rate is set exactly the same as the other side, which is amazing. The ride height is set, which is exactly the same as the other side, which will be changed. Now, what I want to do, also the line there and the T is all connected. So everything's actually buttoned up now. The only thing is ride height. So what I actually want to do with the ride height and the spring rates and all that sort of thing. Now, because previously my spring rates were quite high because they were spun up. So as far as I'm told, every 1 millimeter above 0 millimeters of preload apparently is 100 kilos of preload. Don't quote me, that's just what I read. But I did have like 5 or 10 mil on the fronts and so on. So what I'm gonna do, I've got to retune the whole suspension. Now, the more I increase the preload on the spring, the less droop I'm gonna get. I need to make sure I get at least that 50 mil droop so the air cup system works, but that's all I want. I don't want it to drop further than that. I want as much spring rate as I can because I'm gonna run this quite low and I don't wanna like bounce in the road, hit like a bump and then damage my bumper and stuff, which I have done many, many times. All right, so as you can see, I dropped the rear end. I'm not actually gonna drop all of it because I need the air. I'm gonna make all my measurements and then I'll start dropping it and raising it and I'll show you guys at the end. All right, so I've had a huge amount of luck today doing the tuning on the front suspension. Literally took me one go. I can't believe this happened. So what I've done, I've jumped in, increased the spring rate by 2 full turns, which is about 5 mil. And from what I'm told, that is about 500 kilos of pressure each side. That's where did I get that from? I think I got that from Driftworks Direct, which is good. And that is actually putting the coilovers in the realm of where other companies set them up from factory. So these start with a 0 millimeter and I've gone up to 5. So I've got a decent amount of pressure. And at the same time, I was like, look, I'm just gonna drop the ride height and get it into the realm of where I want it to be, knowing that when I drop the coilovers, say 30 mil, the actual arch to lip amount drops slightly more. I think because of the angle, you know, you're dropping it here, but you've also got the connection coming out to the wheel, maybe something like that. I've always noticed that's the thing. Anyway, set it all up, put it on the floor. I've got exactly 51 millimeters from the edge of my lip to the edge of my fender on both sides. And then when I air up the car, I get exactly 44 mil of lift. Now when I started, the front left had 45 mil of lift, the front right had 48 mil of lift. So obviously increasing the spring rates, I clearly did it a little bit more on the right, driver's side, and it has compensated for that kind of imbalance, and now it is perfect. So I'm gonna jack the car back up, make sure everything's locked in, do a nut and bolt check on the front, put it back on the floor, and then get to the back and do that. Hopefully it's as easy, but either way, I've knocked off half the job in like an hour, if that. So today shouldn't be too bad unless the back gives me some trouble. Ride height is set. I have matched the lip to fender, front and back. And I'm really, really happy with how this sits. I used to roll it around like this all the time, but then I stopped. I mainly stopped because it was a little too low. You'd scrape on things, but all good. Now I've got a lift system. So I've actually got a terrible driveway to leave, or service road, whatever. And I managed to drive out forwards, which is a huge thing. So very, very successful job. Guys, I hope this has helped you. I hope that someone else is gonna go, you know what, I'm gonna do it myself. Yeah, if you've got all the parts, you can do it in a week. 100% you can do it in a week. Mine just dragged out because of parts that were missing or wrong or whatever, but the company came through and they fixed all of that, they sorted it all out. So thank you very much to Driftworks in Birmingham. Thank you to Stance Parts for actually making this kit. And thank you to everyone else that has been involved in this job, helping me out, either getting parts, getting brackets, getting whatever. You are all absolute legends. Thank you so much for the help with this job. I hope you liked this little series, guys. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. See you guys.